Today, for everyone joining us here on Zoom in the live session, those of you that are fully registered for Conchas y Café, you obviously get the benefit of being in the actual class and also the benefit of having your work reviewed. If you wish to actually be part of the class, you can do so by joining through Google Classroom with the class code that I'll provide later in the chat. But that said, because today is our first lesson of the new series, I'd like to first give it up to Abraham Jaramillo, our master teaching artist, who is going to be actually teaching tonight's lesson. So, Abraham will be doing most of the talking, and I will be doing some of the presentation on the screen for Abraham. I see a question from Yusuf.
I'll go for it.
I just wanted to know, I didn't see a handout for tonight's class.
It was posted to our Google Classroom, so you can download it now if you would like. But you can also obviously follow along on the screen today too.
Yeah, we have it online. I checked, but Luis, I'm gonna use the one that I have here because I got more used to it for now. But it's the same thing we have in the handout. It's just the format; it's a bit different.
Yeah.
So okay. I'll move it around, and I can see that I can share it here. So let me know when you want me to start, and we'll give it a go.
Yeah. Well, the floor is all yours, Abraham. Like I said, I'll be watching our chat and answering questions if people have any questions. And at the same time, I'll be helping moderate if we need.
So the first thing is I need somebody to read this in English, and then we'll have somebody read in Spanish. So want to see who's up for this one. You want to read this one?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll move to the Spanish one. And again, Liana, next time, just remember to try to click the hand before you go for it. So
okay,
I'm going to follow you along. So I'm going to be moving the page as you move along with the reading. Okay. So whenever you are ready.
I'm ready to read.
Yeah, go for it then.
It says, letter to Sam, Zimbabwe's producer. Dear Sam, it's 4 a.m. and I've been working since 10 last night. Back I left to the hours I love and all night it's been snowing. I just flashed the spots on and the sight is wonderfully soothing and beautiful. No corners in the world. Everything round and smooth and immaculate. The kids and Cleo are asleep. The house is in order. The machine all functions smoothly. The ladder is full, and I feel, for the moment at least, that I am the luckiest and most contented man in the world. If you were here, we would break a bottle, and light the fire and watch the falling snow, and I would tell you all about it. That thing impossible I shall write. First I shall tell you something which would embarrass us both greatly if I were to speak it. Separated from people as I have been, I have had a great deal of time to observe the reaction to the present troubled times. And I had seen many betray themselves. I have seen many fail in any decent test of conduct. Some of them my friends. And I have shook them up with this little feeling as I would toss away a nail paring and have experienced no sense of loss in the process. But though this whole interesting experience, my respect for you has deepened, and my affection has grown more profound, not only for the money you lent me, although that was a lifesaver and a great demonstration of faith, but for your attitude toward me and other persons and toward life itself, for your willingness to grant me any belief I cherish so long, and it is not harmful to others.
Sorry, hold on a second. It's taking some time to go down. There you go. You're almost there.
Even when you disagree with it, and for your personal sense of outrage, when the right is denied, this. And this alone makes decent men and decent society. It is real, and is why I feel warm the knowledge that we are friends. Can you go down?
Yeah, it's just the last part is James Dalton Trumbo. That's the writer of this letter. And just hold on a second for your thoughts on this piece. We're just gonna need somebody to read this one in Spanish. We have the Spanish version.
Okay.
If not, hold on. We have Diana Mariano. That's right. Sorry, it's tricky to find how this thing works. So
Hello,
if you want to go,
right. Yeah, I can go for it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I'll just move it along. Sweet. Okay.
All right. Carta a Sam Simbalis, productor. Querido Sam, son las 4 de la mañana AM y he estado trabajando desde las 10 de la noche, volviendo por fin a las horas que amo. Y toda la noche ha estado nevando. Acabo de alumbrar aquellos puntos y la visita es maravillosamente calmante y hermosa. Sin filo, en ningún lugar del mundo, todo redondo y liso y inmaculado. Los niños y Cleo están dormidos. La casa está en orden. Las máquinas todas funcionan sin problemas. La escalera está llena y me siento, por el momento, al menos que soy el más afortunado y el hombre más contento del mundo. Si estuvieras aquí, abriéramos una botella y encenderíamos el fuego y observaríamos la caída de la nieve y te lo contaría todo. Eso siendo imposible, voy a escribir. Primero te diré algo que sería muy avergonzoso para los dos si tuviera que hablarlo. Separado de la gente como he estado, yo he tenido mucho tiempo para observar sus reacciones a los tiempos difíciles actuales y he visto a muchos traicionarse. He visto muchos fallar en cualquier prueba de conducta decente. Algunos de ellos, mis amigos, y los he despachado con este pequeño sentimiento, como si tirara a la basura una uña cortada y haya experimentado ninguna sensación de pérdida en el proceso. Pero a través de toda esta interesante experiencia, mi respeto por ti se ha profundizado y mi cariño se ha hecho más profundo, no solo por el dinero que me prestaste, en que eso fue una salvavidas y una gran demostración de fe, pero por tu actitud hacia mí y otras personas y hacia la vida misma, por tu voluntad. Para concederme cualquier creencia con tal que no sea perjudicial para los demás, incluso cuando no esté de acuerdo con aquellas. Y por tu sentido personal de indignación, cuando se niega ese derecho, esto. Y solo esto hace hombres decentes y sociedades decentes. Es raro. Y es por eso que siento calor al saber que somos amigos. James Dalton Trumbo.
Muchísimas gracias. Bueno,
De nada.
como estamos diciendo, ¿quién da la opinión? ¿Qué piensan de esta carta? Y como digo, esta carta no es el formato, porque no encontré las cartas en forma presente. La sucede una traducción de un documental que luego les diré. So what you guys think? What are your thoughts on the letter that we just read? Anything that you guys heard or that you guys feel about it? Go for it. And maybe Luis can help me with the raising of the hands. I don't see everything here.
First of all, I have a question, like, who may he be writing it to? Like, someone that has passed away. I kind of have a feeling it's to someone que quizás ya no está en este mundo y que quisiera, pues, hablar de las experiencias de la vida y de todo lo que ha pasado. Eso es lo que yo sentí en mi corazón, así como lo estaba leyendo. Sentí como que era alguien que tuvo mucho aprecio, pero igual no está esa persona en ese momento. Y es lo que yo siento, no sé si exactamente eso va, pero esa es mi opinión, que puede ser quizás a una persona que ha fallecido y ya está pues en otro, su espíritu en otro lado.
Sí, bueno, no les di la información a propósito, porque quiero ver cuál es el sentimiento de la carta primero, y yo creo que tú la agarraste. So I was telling her, like, I didn't give you the back information of this letter yet. I wanted to see what you guys feel about the letter, and she's right. Like, she's right. This person is writing to somebody he really cares for this person, right? He has a lot of appreciation for this person. I don't think he's dead yet, because I mean the letter is written to that person, and that's why he says, como le digo, en una parte de la carta dice, esto no te lo puedo decir en persona porque nos avergonzaríamos, porque yo creo que en ese entonces no era bueno decirle a otro hombre que te sentías muy bien por él y que te caía muy bien. Entonces dijo, lo voy a escribir, ¿ok? Y ¿alguien más? So anybody else who wants to talk about this piece before I tell you what a little more of the backstory of this? Gia, right? Oh, Gaia?
Gia.
Gia, there you go. I was having like, how you pronounce that?
Thanks, Abraham, and thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a part of this. So I kind of know the backstory, but I think too what he's deeply saying is he really appreciates that this person has stood with him when it became very clear once he was blacklisted how many people turned away from him. So it's a letter of gratitude and a realization, kind of like who your true friends are in your darkest moment, almost.
Yes, you are totally correct. Yeah, that's the way I read it. It's somebody saying that I basically it's a test of the mettle of people, right? Who's gonna be your friend when the ship goes down? Who's gonna take care of you and not deny you or even betray you, right? And so good thing that you also mentioned blacklisting. So this is where we're heading, right? So we're going to start telling you who this person is. And let me go a little bit less. Ugh, this is weird. Where am I? Oh, here. Okay, so James Dalton Trumbo, born December 9, 1905, died September 10, 1976, was an American screenwriter who scripted many award-winning films, including Roman Holiday, 1953, Exodus, Spartacus, both released 1960, and 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, 1944. One of the Hollywood 10 who refused to testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, in 1947 during the committee's investigation of alleged communist influences in the motion picture industry, and as a result were blacklisted. And we're going to go into that, right? What blacklisting is, right? Blacklisting is the action of a group or authority compiling a blacklist of people, countries, or other entities to be avoided or distrusted and being deemed unacceptable to those making the list. And that's really important, right? Who's making the list, right? And then this is also a key word to learn for this writing, because these letters and this time, it's called Red Scare, because this is what's happening, right? Is the promotion, and I really love that, the word they use for that one, promotion of a widespread fear of a potential rise of communist, anarchist, or other leftist ideologies by society or state. The term is most often used to refer to two periods in the history of the United States, which are referred to by this name. And of course, we have the two. The first Red Scare happened 1917 through 1920, which occurred immediately after World War I, revolved around a perceived threat for the American labor movement, anarchist revolution, and the political radicalism. And then we have the second Red Scare, 1947 through 1957, which occurred immediately after World War II. Fascinating, that's happening after every war. Was preoccupied with the perception that national or foreign communists were infiltrating or subverting American society and the federal government. The name refers to the red flag as a common symbol of the communism. This is the period of the blacklisting that Trumbo, the person we just read, experienced, right? And before you have any questions, I'm just going to read it in Spanish. So, como decía en inglés, esta es la biografía de James Dalton Trumbo. 9 de diciembre de 1905 a 10 de septiembre de 1976. Fue un guionista estadounidense que escribió muchas películas galardonadas, incluyendo Vacaciones en Roma, 1953, Exodus, Spartacus, ambas de 1960, y 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, 1944. Uno de los 10 de Hollywood que se negó a testificar ante el Comité de Actividades Antiamericanas de la Cámara HUAC en 1947 durante la investigación del comité sobre supuestas influencias comunistas en la industria cinematográfica, y como resultado fue incluido en la lista negra. Y a esto vamos a llegar. ¿Qué es una lista negra? Right? La inclusión en una lista negra es la acción de un grupo o autoridad que compila una lista negra de personas, países u otras entidades que se deben evitar o desconfiar por considerarlas inaceptables para quien hacen la lista. Y esto es muy importante. ¿Quién está haciendo la lista, verdad? Después, esto es también importante porque esta es la época que está viviendo y por qué la lista está hecha. Este término se llama susto rojo. Es la promoción, y como estaba diciendo en inglés, me gusta mucho cómo usaron esta palabra, de un temor generalizado de un aumento potencial del comunismo, el anarquismo u otras ideologías de izquierda por parte de una sociedad o Estado. El término usa como mayor frecuencia para referirse a dos periodos en la historia de los Estados Unidos a los que se hace referencia con este nombre. Aquí está, el primer susto rojo que pasó 1917 a 1920, que ocurrió inmediatamente después de la Primera Guerra Mundial. Giró en torno a un aumento percibido del movimiento obrero estadounidense, la revolución anarquista y la radicalización política. Después del radicalismo político, perdón. Después tenemos el segundo susto rojo que pasó 1947 a 1957, que ocurrió inmediatamente después de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Como decía en inglés, qué suerte que esto siempre pasa después de una guerra, ¿verdad? Después estaba preocupado por la percepción de que los comunistas nacionales o extranjeros se estaban infiltrando o subvirtiendo en la sociedad estadounidense y el gobierno federal. El nombre hace referencia a la bandera roja como símbolo común del comunismo. Este es el periodo de la lista negra que vivió Trumbo. So, with that information, con esta información, this is the time period where this is happening, right? And this is the words that we are gonna, anybody else have any questions before we move to the next piece? Okay, since I don't see any hands. I hear somebody, so go for it.
Yeah, this is Lois King, and I had to join by my phone, so, and I did do my homework.
Okay, sweet.
Okay, so I can't see anybody, and you can't see me either.
Okay, I see the loose Donnies, so, oh no, hold on, I know wrong person. Yeah, I don't see you. I think I see a number. I see a phone number with 4 at the end, so maybe that's you.
Yeah, that's
me, 7704.
Oh, wow, cool. Okay, nice to have you back.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't see any other questions, so I guess I'm gonna move on. This part I'll read, and then I'll need your help for the rest later. But so this is the next one. Letter to Guy and Dora, Blacklisted writer. Dear Guy, I've had several days to ponder our discussion of the Saturday before Christmas. Although I have not yet had the opportunity to talk it over the others. I have had second thoughts of my own and a strong impression I didn't make myself clear as to my real opinions. That day, a prominent liberal producer whose motives I do not at all doubt, was quoted as saying to one of us, "Look, you people are simply stubborn and foolish. The committee and its requirements are a part of our time. They are the law, they are the country, they are the flag. That's the way it is. And those who refuse to recognize this no longer arouse sympathy. They only isolate themselves and prevent their voices from being heard. I know and can read the First Amendment as well as anyone else. I know it is the basic law of the country, of this country. I know that it is, if it goes, all will go. Thus, the court has presented with a dilemma that lies at the heart of all philosophies and religions. The dilemma best symbolized in the Faustian legend: yield up your principles and you shall be rich. Cling to them and you should be less prosperous than you presently are. That's the problem. Choice, not compulsion, choice. Committee or not committee, law or no law, capitalism or not capitalism, movies or no movies. It is the constant necessity to choose that dogs every action of our lives, every minute of our existence. Who is then who compels us to inform? Who is it that denies us work until we seek out the committee and abase ourselves before it? Since it is neither the court or the law or the committee, the man who compels informing can only be the employer himself. He is the one who urges us to inform, and he is the one who withholds work from us until we do. He is, in fact, that same liberal producer who was quoted as the Saturday discussion. It is he and not the committee who applies the only lash that really stings: economic reprisal. He is the enforcer who gives the committee its only strength and all its victories, disliking the nasty business of blacklisting, but nonetheless practicing it every day of his life. He places upon his country and his flag the blame for the moral atrocities that otherwise would be charged directly to himself. And thus, since informing has nothing to do with the law and the country and the flag, and since the necessities of his life as he sees them oblige him to enforce what the committee can never compel, and since without his enforcement, the committee will have no power at all, what he actually said is that he is the law and the country and the flag. Thinking back to our producer and his concept of country and flag, I am more than ever bewildered. I wonder if he has really seen this country, if he has really seen these American people, if he has really seen that flag, if he has, and his conclusions are honest, he has seen something I never imagined and don't believe exists. James Dalton Trumbo. So again, hopefully you took your notes. We're gonna go on to your questions, but let me just read it in Spanish. So if you have the chance to read this letter again while I read it in Spanish, go for it. So, como les decía, vamos a leer la siguiente carta, que la acabo de leer en inglés. So, ahí les vamos. Carta a Guy Endors, escritor en la lista negra. Querido Guy, he tenido varios días para reflexionar sobre nuestra discusión del sábado anterior de la Navidad. Aunque todavía no he tenido la oportunidad de hablar sobre él con los otros, he tenido mis propias dudas y una fuerte impresión que no me clarifiqué en cuanto a mis opiniones reales. Así, ese día, un destacado y liberal productor, cuyos motivos no dudo en absoluto, fue citado diciendo a uno de nosotros: mira, tu gente es simplemente terca y necia. El comité y sus requisitos son una parte de nuestro tiempo, son la ley, son el país, son la bandera. Así es como es, y aquellos que se niegan a reconocer esto ya no despiertan simpatía, solo se aíslan y previenen sus voces de ser escuchadas. Sé y puedo leer la primera enmienda, sé que es la ley básica de este país, sé que si se va, todo seguiría. Por lo tanto, el tribunal ha presentado un dilema que yace en el corazón de todas las filosofías y religiones. El dilema mejor simbolizado en la leyenda faustina. Abandona tus principios y serás rico. Aférrate a ellos y serás menos próspero de lo que eres actualmente. Ese es el problema. Elección. Elección no compulsiva. Comité o no comité. Ley o no ley. Capitalismo o no capitalismo. Películas o no películas. Es la necesidad constante de elegir, que persigue cada acción de nuestras vidas, cada minuto de nuestras existencias. ¿Quién es entonces? ¿Quién nos obliga a informar? ¿Quién es el que nos obliga? Niega el trabajo hasta que busquemos al comité y nos humillemos nosotros mismos ante ellos, ya que no es ni el tribunal, ni la ley o el comité. El hombre que obliga a informar solo puede ser el empleador, él mismo. Él es el que nos instiga a informar y es él que nos retiene el trabajo hasta que lo hagamos. Él es, de hecho, ese mismo productor liberal que fue citado en la discusión del sábado. Es él y no el comité que aplica el único latigazo que realmente duele. represalia económica. Él es el ejecutor que da a la comité su única fuerza y todas sus victorias. No le gusta el desagradable negocio de enlistar, pero sin embargo lo practica todos los días de su vida. Pone sobre su país y su bandera la culpa de las atrocidades morales que de lo contrario se contribuiría directamente a él mismo. Y así como informar no tiene nada que ver con la ley y el país y la bandera, y dado que las necesidades de su vida, como lo ve, obliga a hacer cumplir lo que el comité nunca puede obligar. Y puesto que sin su ejecución, el comité no tendría ningún poder en absoluto, lo que realmente dijo es que él es la ley y la patria y la bandera. Recordando a nuestro productor y su concepto de país y bandera, estoy más que nunca desconcernado. Me pregunto si realmente ha visto este país, si realmente ha visto este pueblo americano, si de verdad ha visto esa bandera, si lo ha hecho y sus conclusiones son honestas, ha visto algo que nunca imaginé y no creo que exista. James Dalton Trumbo. So, guys, acabo de leer en español. What are your thoughts on this letter? ¿Cuáles son sus notas o ideas de esta carta? So you can raise your hand, or
does anyone have any kind of general feeling about the things that Trumbo is asking or saying in this letter? See a hand
yeah,
from
I think.
Gia.
Yeah. So he's talking about the fact that once you give up your principles, that, it doesn't matter what money or what awards or what you get, that you are lost. And that, the fact that he's unwilling to stand up for other people when the finger's being pointed at them, and not realizing that someday the finger might eventually be pointed towards him.
Definitely. Yes, you are correct.
See a hand from Maria.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Well, something that came to mind was that in the letter was that even though this was, I don't recall the exact year that it was written in, it sounds like something that could have been written today, like, the observations being made, especially just about like, because I guess I'm drawing parallels to like things that people like George Carlin have said about like the American dream. You have to believe it, kind of thing. And so that's what that reminds me of.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's just relevant, especially since we're talking about censorship. This is kind of the theme for these entire workshops that we're doing, is censorship. And a way of censoring somebody is blacklisting it, right? Because it diminishes their power to live, because again, he's losing jobs. He's being blacklisted not to be able to work for Hollywood, right? So he's talking about the principle of economical reprisal, basically taking away the ability to be economically sustainable. Without that, it's hard for you to move around, to connect with people and to do your work, right? And that part it's also making your ideas out there, right? To put them out there. It's hard to do it with all these chains on your hands, basically, right? And the fact that, this is illegal if you think about it. This is no way of saying, oh, I'm not going to hire because he has different beliefs than mine. So that's what's also tricky about this subject. And he's saying like, this is not a legal thing. And the only reason this is happening is because the producer is the one who's letting it happen. He is the only reason this is happening, because he is not standing up to Congress and say like, I cannot blacklist this person because he has different beliefs. And that's the reason these people choose to not talk in Congress, because they feel their right to beliefs like was infringed, right? So
Yeah.
we have anyone else who has to us? Oh, Maria, I guess, or you left your hand up?
I think that might have been from earlier.
Okay,
but
just
in the
double
chat,
checking.
in the chat, San Juanita wrote, and since we need work, we will do anything to keep this job. So we are going to do whatever is asked of us in general terms.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is one of the arguments, right? That
Yes.
Trumbo is making in the letter. You know, there's, to a certain degree, you have to sort of sell yourself out if you want to continue working, at least in that time period. And, you know, a person could say the same even for now.
Yeah, that's what in the first letter he's talking about. He's just talking to a friend who's actually helping him. And then he's talking about the other people who are being basically sold themselves, right?
Yeah.
So we're blacklisted, and then start talking about the other people, because that was the only reason to get out of the blacklist was to say who was a communist, right? Mm-hmm. So he's talking about that, and basically it's the what is the method of you to submit to the main culture of the time, right? And the method was telling you want to work, you want to do what we say. If not, you cannot work, right? So that's kind of the tool they're using for people to be censored, right? That's the tool, economical reply. So that's why I love that part.
Yeah, exactly what San Juanita just added to her comment in the chat. Abandona tus principios y serás rico. Aférrate a ellos y serás menos próspero.
Exacto, ya. Esa es una parte bien, bien fuerte. Y sí, es lo que hicieron unos, porque los llamaron como, eran 10 personas que están en la historia, pero era más gente y otra gente no aguantó y decidió unirse y perder sus principios, ¿verdad? Bueno, ¿alguien más antes de que siga? Anybody else before I move on? Juan Carlos?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the letter that goes from letter to Guy and Dor. So there's like this section in the middle where it kind of talks about the morals, like that it says like that the
choices, right?
Yeah, that the First Amendment in this country kind of gives you the you kind of have, it's like a moral right, I guess, to have your freedom, your expression and all that. And then it just starts like questioning like what, like, you know, kind of like what gives people the right to take that away. But I don't know, it's just like a crazy thought, like right now, especially like how we see like in the US, like people are living like they live in like separate realities, so and separate morals, and I don't know, it just kind of came to mind that in that section where it brings the thing about morals, you know, because it's back in the day, you know, it was a whole different society than what it is right now. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to point that out. That's kind of like the thing that stood out for me.
Yeah, you're definitely right, and that's kind of the basically the center of the problem is this. People have different beliefs, right? And they were like, as a communist, especially at the time, they were facing a lot of hardship. So people was looking in other ways of basically moving their culture to a different, I don't know, economic or social system. So they were looking into more radical ways, right? And basically they went for the communist, right? And so the main culture who wasn't into that, right? They themselves said like, no, you cannot be communist, right? And that's where the problem is. It's like you don't have then the right to speak your mind and to have different ideas, which that was the problem that the people who went into trial said like, we're against that. That's why they mentioned the First Amendment, because that's the one they used in Congress when they were asked to basically tell the names of the other communists, right? So it's good that you notice that there's big parts of the problem here. And anybody else, or you have?
There's a There's an addition to the chat from Miss Michelle. Just adding, I'm going to summarize that there were other artists and celebrities and singers and writers that were also blacklisted. So it wasn't just people in Hollywood, it was people outside of Hollywood too. And she brought up the concept of McCarthyism.
Yes.
Which is, named after Joseph McCarthy, who is one of the I believe Congress people who formed the committee. So
yes.
Yeah, and this was regardless of race and sex. It was anybody that is suspected of being a communist or a communist sympathizer. They were all ultimately blacklisted.
Yeah, and that was a big movement in history. Like people were like really against communists. I mean, we still have some of that, and you can hear jokes about it. Like if you think, but that's where it comes from this period of time, the periods.
No para, hacerlo más largo, but it's also, I think, an interesting thing for us to consider the fact that, this Red Scare period in U.S. history came after World War I and World War II. And that's when you had a lot of migrants coming from Eastern Europe into the United States. So, not only were there a lot of changes in, with labor unions and things like that, but you also had a lot of people essentially afraid that migrants were going to start taking their jobs. So, it's possible. I don't know if this is 100% for sure, but it is possible that this did have, sort of racism and nationalism sort of tied to it as well. So,
well, definitely has a lot of nationalism, and especially because Russia was friend with the United States because of the wars. But after that, what happened, and then at this battle of the opposites, right? And but again, it has a lot of things that go around it, and we'll probably explore more of that. But let's move to the next piece hold on, I have a little more information, right? Trumbo was blacklisted, and in 1950 was sentenced, again, he was definitely sentenced to a year in federal prison for contempt of Congress, right? He refused basically to give the names of colleagues who were supposedly communist sympathizers. He and many of his colleagues used the First Amendment as the reason to not give information to the committee. He ended up spending 11 months in prison, right? Trumbo, en español, fue incluido en la lista negra en 1950. Fue sentenciado a un año de prisión federal por desacato al Congreso. Y esto es porque se negó a dar los nombres de colegas que supuestamente eran simpatizantes comunistas. Él y muchos de los colegas usaron la primera enmienda como razón para no dar información al comité. Trumbo terminó pasando 11 meses en prisión. So, sí terminó yendo a la cárcel, y hay una carta también que él usa desde la cárcel que es bien íntima y me gusta mucho porque al final dice el nombre de prisionero. O sea, dice su nombre y después acaba diciendo el nombre del prisionero. O sea, diciendo estoy en la cárcel. So as I was telling them in Spanish, like there's another letter that of this period of time when he's in prison that's really intimate, and I really love that at the end he puts James Dalton Trumbo and then the number of the prisoner, which tells you that he's in prison, that you didn't expect it until the end. But I chose not to use that, and we're going to use another one that I think it's really interesting and even a little stronger, in my opinion. So vamos a leer otra que es un poquito más fuerte de la que estaban en la cárcel y también muy interesante. So I'm going to need somebody to read English. Please choose a different person right now. So raise your hands or I will pick you. So this is the English, and then we'll go for somebody to read in Spanish. So raise your hands or I should pick you. Okay. Time to point the fingers then. We have Rebecca Salesai. I don't know the name. Yeah. Whenever you are ready.
Okay. It says, letter to Miss Eleanor Barr Wheeler, principal of Annandale Elementary School. Dear Mrs. Wheeler, we entrusted your care a happy, healthy, comparatively well-adjusted, and demonstratively intelligent child who loved school, adored her teachers, and enjoyed the friendship of her small circle of contemporaries. 8 months later, you return to us a spiritually devastated human being who begs us not to send her to school. I am informed that within the PTA and the Bluebirds, there have been a series of small secret meetings devoted to a discussion of Miss Trumbo's character and of mine, and what to do about us. Since no one has come to our home to discuss at firsthand the problems which so deeply trouble them, we have obviously been tried and condemned in absentia, and the verdict has filtered down from parent to child. Mitzi, who started out the school year with many friends, has found herself in the past 3 months the objective of the scorn and ridicule and hatred of those she liked most. Small, childish conspiracies are directed against her, parent in secret after the conspiracies of the parent, and she is quietly and incessantly persecuted and boycotted and shunned as long as the day lasts, as the school day lasts. This slow murder of the mind and the heart and the spirit of a young child is the proud outcome of the patriotic meeting held by a few parents under the sponsorship of the PTA and the Bluebirds. I should like you to watch how decently and bravely our daughter tries to suppress her bewilderment at her first encounter with barbarous and parading as American virtue. Barbarism, which began at your school among adult persons, now that we have discovered the source of Mitzi's agony, we shall naturally secure competent treatment to rid her the scars already inflicted. If it then seems advisable, we shall employ contempt counsel to seek a court test of the responsibilities of the school and of school organizations for the mental health of the children entrusted to them. For it is within these schools, organizations that Mitzi has suffered an assault, that the assault has been upon her personality, and that the injury she has sustained in psychic makes it no less real than if in a physical sense. The man and the woman of the PTA and the officials of the Bluebirds had incited their children to trample her senseless on the black top of the playground. James Dalton Trumbo.
Thank you very much. Great reading. And before we move to the notes and your feedback, guys, we're going to ask for somebody to read in Spanish. Do we have anyone who wants to read this in Spanish? Alguien que quiera leer esto en español, porque y guarden sus notas, como les digo. Tenemos a Luz. Luz.
San Juanita was actually first.
Oh, sí. Estoy viendo de abajo para arriba. Ok, San Juanita, ¿estás lista?
Sí, si Luz quiere, no hay problema. Como quiera ella. I can do it if you want. I don't mind.
Como quieran. ¿Quieren?
Tu español es mejor que el mío, dale.
No, para nada, Luz, para nada, pero bueno.
Ándale, pero bueno, ahí te va.
Déjame ver.
Vamos a ver.
Ok. Nomás que yo la tengo aquí conmigo, la carta, ¿es lo mismo?
Sí, es lo mismo, supongo.
Ok. He visto que varía, pero bueno, vamos a ver. Carta a la señora Eleanor Barr, directora de la escuela primaria Anadel. Mi querida señora Wheeler, confiamos en tu cuidado y a una feliz y sana, comparativamente bien ajustada y demostrablemente inteligente niña que amaba a la escuela, adoraba a sus maestros y disfrutaba de la amistad de su pequeño círculo de contemporáneos. 8 meses después, vuelve a nosotros un ser humano devastado espiritualmente que hoy nos ruega que no le enviemos a la escuela. Me informan que dentro de la Asociación de Padres de Familia y los pájaros azules ha habido una seria discusión del carácter moral de la señora Trumbo y de el mío y al qué hacer con nosotros. Ya que nadie ha venido a nuestra casa a discutir de primera mano los problemas que los preocupan tan profundamente, obviamente hemos sido juzgados y condenados en ausencia y el veredicto se ha filtrado de padre a hija. Mitzi, que comenzó el año escolar con muchos amigos, se ha encontrado en los últimos 3 meses el objeto de desprecio y burla y odio de los que ella más quería. Pequeñas conspiraciones infantiles se dirigen contra ella, nacidas en secreto después de las conspiraciones de los padres, y ella es callada e incesantemente perseguida, boicoteada y rechazada durante la jornada escolar. Este lento asesinato de la mente, el corazón y el espíritu de una niña pequeña es el resultado orgulloso de las reuniones patrióticas celebradas por unos pocos padres bajo el patrocinio de la Asociación de Padres de Familia y los Pájaros Azules. Me gustaría que vieras cuán decentemente y valientemente nuestra hija trata de reprimir su desconcierto por su primer encuentro con el barbarismo desfilando como la virtud americana. Un barbarismo que empezó en tu escuela entre personas adultas. Ahora que hemos descubierto la fuente de la agonía de Mitzi, naturalmente aseguraremos competente tratamiento para quitarle las cicatrices ya infligidas. Y si entonces parece aconsejable, emplearemos a un abogado competente para solicitar una prueba judicial de las responsabilidades de la escuela y de las organizaciones escolares por la salud mental de los niños que se les han sido confiados, porque es dentro de esta escuela y organizaciones que Mitzi ha sufrido una agresión, que el asalto ha sido sobre ella y su personalidad, y que la herida que ella ha sostenido sea psíquica, no lo hace menos real que como si fuese de un sentido físico. Los hombres y las mujeres de Asociación de Padres de Familia y los funcionarios de los Pájaros Azules han incitado a sus hijos para pisotearla sin sentido en el asfalto del patio de recreo. James Dalton Trumbo. Wow.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Wow.
San Juanita.
De nada, de nada.
Y pues veamos qué piensan ustedes de esta carta. So what do you guys think about this letter? What are your thoughts on this letter? Especially now that we have a lot more background. Alcen su mano.
I see a hand from San Juanita.
Do I speak? I speak. Yeah. I think they went too far.
Yeah.
This is the first time I read stuff like this, and yeah, definitely went too far. And I would even like to know what happened as a result of this. You know, it's sad, but yeah.
Just I would have to agree on that.
You agree with what Juanita said, Elena?
Yes.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any reactions to this particular letter? I mean, I know my reaction is pretty strong.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear from others first.
Yes, I'm waiting. I'm like,
No one else has any comments? I mean, imagine, right? You, from a professional level, are being persecuted for your beliefs, so much so that you can't get a job. Then on top of that, in your personal circle, you're being persecuted because in your personal circle, you're afraid of which people you called friends in the past are going to turn you in for something that is just an ideology. But then, to go even beyond that, now other people in your family are being persecuted for your personal beliefs. Like that is incredible. But I see we have a hand from Gia. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I mean, even knowing the story, I found this letter just shocking, you know, and I think it's indicative too of how fear can create hate. And then this also shows how directly it can be passed down within a family. So just by hearing their parents talk, suddenly they're like bullying the daughter. And so I think so much of like prejudice is passed down that way, and that fear is what has such a grip on everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
totally.
I think one of the saddest parts about prejudice is that it is passed on. It's like a disease.
Yeah. And one of the parts it says like parent the idea, and then from the parents who basically are teaching their kids, which is it's a nice reflection.
Yeah. I see a hand from Roots.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was gonna comment on the same thing. I definitely agree with the last person who spoke about how it's passed down and how it's not even the ideology of the children. It's like the parents are enabling this kind of behavior. Like they're encouraging them, right? Like based off of propaganda, not even like in showing them or like educating them, but like, no, shut that idea down at all costs, you know? So that's just kind of what I wanted to say.
Yeah, totally. And that's why I like the word sponsorship of an idea, right? So the government or the society has said, this is where our minds are, so get with it, right? And so everybody is doing the pack mentality at this point, just like, oh, they're communists, let's all go against them.
Yeah, or like what you said earlier, Abraham, about the word promotion, right?
Yeah, it's just
a deliberate or sponsored promotion of an idea. I see a hand up again from San Juanita.
You know, something that came to my mind, you know, that, you know, this happens all the time. This is happening now, you know, where you know you have your own beliefs about something, and suddenly you're judged based on that, you know, and you know, God forbid you say what you think about certain things, and then they start attacking you, you know, bullying you. I think that's definitely very true. Let me give you an example. When it has to do with religion, and not necessarily religion, you know, just you believe in a super being, and then, you know, you make a comment about it, people start seeing you in different ways, you know, and sometimes that's one of the reasons why people don't say anything. And it's sad, you know, it's sad, but it's true. So this is something that happens all the time. You know, let me give you another example. You know, the gender ideology right now. If you believe otherwise, that's it. You know, you're this, you're that. And so, you know, then people just don't say anything anymore because of, you know, what they believe. But because of what they believe, they just don't say anything anymore. And suddenly, you know, you just need to be quiet. You know, you just don't say anything. Don't say anything.
I like that you're saying that. So you're basically saying you're officially or like effectively being censored, right?
Exactly.
Because means they don't let you speak your mind because you know it will be repercussions to it, or that people it's gonna attack you because you say otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sad because you know, why can't people speak up their minds without being, you know, told you're this, you're that, you know, and you need to be this, you need to be that, and everything about, you know, inclusion and all that, you know. I don't know, it's just crazy. It's crazy. So sometimes you just have to choose your words, you know, and you just sometimes have to go with the flow. As horrible as it sounds, you know, and sometimes it's worth going with the flow. How is it worth? Well, you know what? You just have your beliefs and just be happy with what you believe. And but do hold, steadfast to your beliefs, I think. Yep.
Yeah, this is really effective. Blacklisting and putting a community, basically entire society, against somebody who is not on board. It's devastating and effective, as you can see. And I chose this letter because, again, it has some from when he's in prison, and that's kind of an immediate way of saying you're being attacked, or you're being basically the repercussions of your ideology, right? Like Luis is saying. But then there's the side effects, right? Which are blacklisting. It's kind of a side effect of you being condemned, right? And the side effect of your child being attacked for your mistake, right? It's just so strong, and it boiled my being when I was listening to this person read this letter. Like, my God, like, people's horrible, right? And I really like also that he points the fact of bullying, like especially back then, he put it really eloquently. That's pretty good too. I enjoy that part as well.
Yeah, that's a writer being a little extra with their writing.
Yeah.
But very effective. I mean, I think that letter and also the first letter that we read tonight are very good at bringing in philosophical ideas and making them feel very real, very grounded in earth and and actually showing us consequences of what can come of things like blacklisting. It's kind of like what Miss Michelle says in the chat. Racism is a generational thing, and it's also like a terminal illness. It will kill a society if it continues. To say that there's no cure, as Miss Michelle is saying, that's maybe being a little heavy on it, but who knows, right? There's always going to be someone who thinks that their ideologies are better than others. Roots also wrote in the chat that yes, Roots completely agrees with everything about the whole ideology being pushed on us. And San Juanita added, when it comes to our kids, definitely something has to be done. Sad for these kids. I'm assuming for Mitzi.
In the parts that I saw, like the kid is speaking about her experience, and you can see the devastation of it, right? Like, how is she gonna grow with that experience, right? And the resentment, and sometimes even resentment towards her parents, right? Who knows? Like, this is what bugs me the most. Like, you maybe made a mistake, let's call it that, even though I don't think it is, but then your kids are paying for it because people suck. But anyways, that's another subject for another 100 lectures later. People suck, but let's move on. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's continue. What happened to Trumbo? Trumbo continued working clandestinely on major films, writing under other authors' names or his pseudonym, Robert Rich. His unaccredited work won 2 Academy Awards for Best Story for Roman Holiday, 1953, which was presented to a front writer. Again, another writer who said, like, I did it, but he didn't do it. He did it for them, okay? And for The Brave One, 1956, which was awarded to his pseudonym, again, Robert Rich. He and his family faced financial hardship. He also moved to Mexico for a time to try their luck, but had to come back when they found no luck there either. When he was given public credit for both Exodus and Spartacus in 1960, it marked the beginning of the end of the Hollywood blacklist for Trumbo, although it took some more years for other affected screenwriters. He finally was given full credit by the Writers Guild for Roman Holiday in 2011. Again, nearly 60 years after the fact. That's a long time. In Spanish, Trumbo continuó trabajando clandestinamente en películas importantes, escribiendo bajo los nombres de otros autores o su seudónimo, Robert Rich, Su trabajo no acreditado ganó 2 premios de la Academia a la mejor historia por Roman Holiday, 1953, que fue presentado a un escritor de frente, o sea, alguien que dio su nombre por él, y por The Brave One, 1956, que fue otorgado a su seudónimo. Trumbo y su familia enfrentaron dificultades financieras. También se mudó a México por un tiempo para probar suerte, pero tuvieron que regresar cuando tampoco encontraron suerte allí. Cuando se le dio el crédito público en la pantalla, tanto por Éxodos como por Spartacus en 1960, marcó el principio del fin de la lista negra de Hollywood para Trumbo, aunque tomó algunos años más para otros guionistas afectados. Finalmente, Writers Guild le dio todo el crédito por Roman Holiday en 2011, o sea, casi 60 años después del hecho, es un buen de tiempo. And here is the link for the Trumbo, a 2007 American documentary film directed by Peter Askin, where I got the letters from, right? And the document, hopefully, Luis, maybe can you put it in the chat? This is the link. Or should I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to do it from here. Aquí está el enlace para Trumbo, una película documental es estadounidense del 2007, dirigida por Peter Askin. De aquí saqué las cartas y, como les digo, no encontré las cartas en documentos o usé más que nada el captions y por eso es que se ve un poquito diferente cómo lo escribí, pero quise ser fiel a eso porque me gustó como los actores, porque ese documental tiene actores fuertes. Está bueno el documental, se los recomiendo. Y me gustó sus pausas y cómo hablaban. So, un poquito de eso está en el captions del video. So, Trumbo was honored by the installation of a statue of him in front of the Avalon Theater on Main Street in Grand Junction, Colorado, his hometown. He was depicted writing a screenplay in a bathtub. Trumbo fue honorado en la instalación de una estatua enfrente del Teatro Avalon en Main Street en Grand Junction, Colorado, su ciudad natal. Fue representado escribiendo un guión en una bañera y aquí está la estatua. Y he visto la foto, o sea que sí, él sí estaba escribiendo un guión en la bañera. So, esta estatua es muy, muy real a lo que hacía. Me hubiera gustado que le hubiera hecho fuente también, pero bueno, ahí se perdieron la oportunidad. Y ahí está. Y por último, también hay una película. So, no la he visto la película y chance haga una noche de películas en mi casa. El que se quiera colar, que me avise y a ver cuándo se me ocurre verla, pero ahí la vemos en el patio. So here is the movie. I haven't watched it, and I was saying in Spanish that I might do a movie night at my house to see it. So whoever wants to tag along, just let me know, and we'll create something for that. And that's the end for that. So let's move on. Oh, hold on. Does anybody has questions before we move on? Okay. Just because of time, we're gonna move on to the exercise because we're definitely working today. I mean, this is a writing class. We're working. So exercise again. Check it out. Make notes or whatever you have to do. Okay. First, think of something that will get you blacklisted. Second, who would be the one blacklisting you? Third, what would be the repercussions of such blacklisting? Then, of course, write them down, put them in a chat, but after you have written down, put everything in the chat, but don't put one answer than the other one. Just put everything in one message, right? So we can see it and we can check it out and I'll give you some suggestions or talk about it and see how you guys are doing. So do that and take your time. I don't know how many minutes, but I'll do it in Spanish right now. So, and then we'll give you more of a time. But again, do this part, okay? Ejercicio. Primero, piensa en algo que te pondría en una lista negra. Segundo, ¿quién sería el que te pondría en la lista negra? Tercero, ¿cuáles serían las repercusiones de tal lista negra? ¿Qué te pasaría esta opción ahí? ¿Qué le pasaría a tu vida, verdad? Después que anota todo esto, tus respuestas, y cuando ya las tengas, ponlas en el chat y nada más ponlas en un mensaje, no pongas pum, pum, porque son 3 preguntas, pero nada más pongan una sola. Le puedes poner coma si quieres, para que las podamos ver separado por cada persona y no nos hagamos bolas, ¿verdad? So, any questions about this exercise while we're doing it? How much time we have for this exercise, Luis?
Let's give ourselves maybe 2 minutes, just real quick, so we don't go too far over our time.
That's all right.
I also just put the exercise in the chat for anybody that wants to reference it in the chat.
Okay, perfecto, Raimundo. So no pressure, guys. Tick, tack, tick, tack, tick, tack. Oh, somebody's asking if it can be a true story. Yeah, I mean, it can be your true story with somebody that you know, but you can also create a story behind it, right? This is, yeah.
I have
don't
one,
know.
Abraham. I have mine already.
Oh, sweet. Can you put it in the chat or you want to say it? Because it can work.
Is it okay for me to read it? It's a short one.
Yeah, go for
yeah,
it. But
go
again,
ahead.
you have to do the 3 parts, right? Which remember first.
Yes.
Okay, you got it.
I was glad when you asked me to be a speaker. The topic was on being equal in the workforce. As a man, I am so sorry that we were not in agreement. Do you see yourself as an equal, as a stable competitor? Should a woman get the same pay when the duties are different? Females are considered the weaker vessel by some men. Women must admit most of them do not have the strength of a man, nor can they provide full protective needs of a family when put under pressure. So to you who heard me speak here last month for the Community Center Women's Group and caused me to be socially blacklisted in this city, which means I am prohibited of speaking here again, but there are other cities.
Oh, thank you. So you did the entire homework then.
Well, I went into my what do you call it? My computer.
Nice.
And I was yeah, and I couldn't find the because I always try to sign, to get set up 15, 20 minutes before time. And so I couldn't, yeah. And
you got
so,
inspired. I like that.
Yeah, I did.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. And okay. Thank you, Luis. And definitely remember to put it in the homework on the website. And if you don't maybe know, Luis have a video, I think from last time, right?
Yeah.
Of how to
so
access,
it's a censor. Yeah.
So we
censor.
can review it. And I think we also gonna do after the class, divide the groups or something like that, Luis, maybe? Or next class?
For next class.
That's next week.
Okay, cool.
That's next week.
Okay. Perfecto,
it's
Raimundo.
It's 8:01. I have to sign off for the pre-broadcasting meeting for tonight.
Nice.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Ms. Lois.
So
Thank you for joining us tonight.
And
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
will I be getting a link next week?
Yes. So after tonight, probably tomorrow, I will send the cohort assignments for those of you that are fully registered in the class.
Okay, thank you. God bless you all.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And do we have anything on the chat, Luis? Or people already answered these questions or not yet?
Yeah, we got one from Miss Michelle.
Okay.
Reading, I would get blacklisted for speaking up at my employer for wanting to have a union. I would be blacklisted by the lead care managers. I would not have my peers not working with me, or they would make a possible hostile work environment.
Oh, hostile. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. You have it there. We're getting there. Excellent. Do we have anybody else? I see 3 chat, but I'm like getting used to this new
that's it for now.
Okay.
The other 2 are from
I think we just got another one.
Exercise.
San Juanita? I think she posted something.
Yeah, San Juanita added, women should focus on raising a family 100% while the father provides 100% of what the family needs. I'm afraid people here will blacklist me. I think feminists would
Sorry.
blacklist me. Definitely many repercussions. For example, there would be many attacking me.
Ooh, I like this topic. I want to see where you take it, huh? Interesting.
I was afraid to type it.
No, that's the whole point, and I think this is a perfect timing if you want to speak your mind. Again, we all trying to help each other and listen to each other, and this is the environment to do it. I hope, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Then we have Roots. I think she posted something.
Yeah. So Roots added to the chat. Saying trans women are not women would get you blacklisted. Most of society labels you as hateful and they conspire to ban you in any way they can. People will refuse to continue doing business with you and cancel you.
Interesting. This is kind of moving to the what's the term for this? What's the term for the I mean,
cancel culture?
There you go. Cancel culture. There you go. See, things evolve and move and like interesting.
Yeah, it's funny if you think about it, right? Yeah. You know, the modern day version of being blacklisted is to be canceled.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
And then we have Michelle Jess hostile and discrimination because one, I am older, and second, I have less crap this move. I'm lost. I lost who was reading. I would get blacklisted, this Diana, by the medical board via labor, the medical board via labor for speaking of regarding how the doctors do not have enough study and will never know what women go through and the care we need as we go through labor and how they focus on the money rather than the birth. Oh, so yeah, this is totally true. Then we have
Abraham, did you get it?
Hold on a second. I'm trying to go for it. Hold on a second. Speaking up against equality pay in the workplace. Yeah, but we still have to put a couple more things. Again, try to put it in one text, but okay. Hold on, what's this? Life-saving efforts for premature infants, hospitals or ethics committee misjudged by peers. There you go. These are the hot topics. I love it, but I can't. I got to go. See you all next week. This is Carlos Diaz. Okay, see you later. Oh, but don't forget to check the homework. Actually, if you guys can wait, let me give you the homework. Yeah, that would be better. Don't go until I give you guys the homework. Okay. So homework. Using the answers in the previous exercise, make a letter to the person who is blacklisting you or to a supporter, which is friend, family, institution, coworkers, etc., right? Who's helping you, or to the media on the subject of your blacklisting. Just remember that the reader needs to know why, who, basically context, right? Try to give us a little more details of what's going on. In the letters that we just read, I gave you some of the context because again, they were meant for actual people. So this is meant for the main public. So if you want to talk about it, make sure you put why and how and why is this letter, right? Then, en español, usando las respuestas en ejercicio previo, escriban una carta a la persona que los incluye en la lista negra o a un simpatizante como amigos, familiares, instituciones, compañeros de trabajo, etcétera. ¿Quién nos está ayudando, verdad? O a los medios de comunicación sobre el tema de su lista negra. Solo recuerden que el lector necesita saber qué, quién, por qué, claro, contexto, porque en las listas, en las cartas que les leímos en la clase, no tenía mucho contexto unas que otras, pero por eso se los di yo, porque esas cartas estaban dedicadas a personas que ya sabían qué estaba pasando, ¿verdad? Y como el lector que va a leer sus cartas que van a hacer no sabe de qué traten de poner la información de cierta forma. Y any questions, alguna pregunta, this is the time.
Also, just as a final reminder to everybody that is fully registered in the class on Google Classroom, you will be receiving an email from me with your cohort assignment, so that next week when we meet on Tuesday night, we will be breaking up into 2 cohorts, one that will be working with me and a small group of classmates, and Abraham with the other half of the classmates. You will be responsible for sharing your work, your homework, on Friday of this week, so that everyone else will be able to, give you feedback over the course of the weekend. If you previously registered, or if you get the Google Classroom announcements from me when I post them to Google Classroom, that means you're already fully registered. So there's not really any need to register again. This is specifically for anybody that is not registered and is watching on the live stream.
So this week and next week, is it going to be on Zoom or Google Classroom?
That's a good question. Next week we will be using Zoom again, but this time there will be no live stream.
So no Google Classroom?
Yeah, Google Classroom will be where all of the announcements and the handouts live. Zoom will be what we use to meet.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. And for anybody that is watching on the live stream and doesn't have time to register completely, you do have also the option of joining us of submitting to the zine through our website, which is dstlarts.org/Conchas y Café zine. That's where you can find the link for our submittable page, which allows you to submit work without peer review. Does anyone else have any final questions before we call it a night? No? All right. Well, in that case, thank you, Abraham, for giving us a very important lecture on, one of the probably most controversial times in American history. Blacklisting is a form of censorship, as is cancel culture, which, just kind of brings it all back full circle. So, thank you for everyone who joined us today here in person on the live streams. And, if any of you have any questions, you feel free to reach out to us. The theme that we are exploring this time around is censors. So the concept of censorship and the different ways in which we censor ourselves. So that's what we're going to be focusing on over the next 12 weeks. Again, next week will be a workshopping day. So those of you that are hoping to get feedback on your writing, you will be expected to submit your writing to your cohort this Friday for us to be able to review over the weekend. And next Tuesday, we will break up into breakout rooms where you will get that more directed feedback. Otherwise, you can submit your writing through our website. Just go again to DSTLarts.org/Conchas y Café zine, and you will be able to find the links for submitting through submittable work that could potentially be published in the next Conchas y Café zine. So thanks again, everyone. I'm going to end our live stream now and our recording. I'll stay on for a minute or so as all of those things wrap up for any final questions. But until then, everybody, have a good night.